you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
Welcome back to Common Folk.
Howdy.
This is a impromptu episode. We
Yes,
don't have
it is.
Andy here.
No.
He doesn't even know we're doing
Sidekick
this.
Andy. Not even sidekick. He's radio voice.
He doesn't even know what we're doing right
You
now.
guys would like him.
I bet, yeah.
He's a good one.
I feel bad about doing it without him, but hey, had
Well,
to
you
be
guys
done.
came down and stayed with us and
Yeah.
then wanted to show the shop. And we were like, should we record? It was kind of a last second thing.
Yeah, so what are we doing? We're here with part of the Welker family. So a lot of folks who listen to this podcast are familiar with a lot of the farm tubers. So a lot of them will know you guys, will know the Welkers. So we've got one half of the Welkers here.
The better half, obviously.
The better half.
I mean, I kind of figured he would say that.
Am I that predictable?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you probably should. It's brothers, right?
Yeah.
Are you younger or older?
You know, everybody asks me that question. Most people get it wrong. I'm actually the younger one, but I'm big enough where I can sit on him if he misbehaves, so we're good.
Yeah. So that's the reason why. That's why he says things like that, because he's the younger one.
Right.
That's what
So he's
happens.
like picking on the older
Well,
brother.
obviously I have to.
Yeah.
But actually, does he pick on you much? Do you guys pick?
Well, we we make fun of each other every once in a while. We razz a little bit, but for the most part, we're just, when we were younger, we didn't really get along.
You
but
didn't? Okay.
No, but now like we
As
compliment
adults.
each other very well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I call him the CEO of Welker Farms. Somebody's got to have a CEO. I don't want that position.
I wouldn't have it either. Yeah. So we got Mr. Leg Arms here, Scott Welker, and then obviously Nick's your brother.
Right.
Running the Welker Farms YouTube channel along with your father as well, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of the three
Yep.
personalities. Here with Scott is Sarah, his wife. Welcome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yep.
Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was just kind of like we said, an impromptu thing. You guys are in Montana. You traveled all the way to New York
Yeah.
to visit Sarah's family, right?
Yeah.
We drove, so 2,000 miles one way. And then on our way back, we wanted to come see you guys because we've never been here and I've never met Morgan and never seen this whole procedure. And then Sarah finally shows up to work for the first time. So
First day.
On location.
Yeah.
But you forgot to say that y'all have 3 children. Okay, so that's a long way to go with 3 kids.
It is.
Dayquil, NyQuil.
Not Dayquil.
Something.
No.
Had to think
No.
about that.
Technology is great, though. It's
Okay.
entertainment. And
Yeah.
Taryn is in 2nd grade, and she's starting to read. So she was actually able to read books to her brothers in the back seat, too.
Nice.
Which was really fun and cute. And, yeah, kept
that
things
helps.
interesting.
Yeah.
So you guys made your way to New York, spent a couple of weeks there with the family for the holidays.
Yeah.
You're on your way back now. Took a couple hour detour.
Yeah.
Stopped in the Midwest, the Heartland.
We found a place that served steak and crab. And so, yeah, it's been pretty good.
That was
Yeah.
we did
Home
Surf and turf.
cooked.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you guys were good at that.
Yeah.
fed us well.
He's good at that. Wasn't
I like
he?
cooking. It's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So for a little bit of background for folks that don't understand, on the farmfocused.com website, we run branded farm merchandise, everything start to finish. So from design to the website hosting, the production, the fulfillment, and a big part of what we do is that whole process for brands like the Welker Farm brand on YouTube, on social media, to help them bring a merchandise offering to the general public. So all the folks that watch you guys every single day on the YouTube channel. So by way of that, obviously that's how we met. And then as a company doing what we do, we're always, at least we were for the longest time, always struggling and working with trying to figure out graphic design and a good way to do it, a good reliable way to do it, good quality product, a process that didn't cost a fortune, is at least affordable to do. And by way of doing that, we met Sarah, your wife. You were doing some freelance stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
How long had you been doing that freelance stuff before we met?
Oh, gosh. Probably 8 years.
Oh,
7
okay.
years.
Long time. Yeah.
Okay, but you went to school for this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
went
because
to-
some people do it and they're self-taught.
Yeah, like Sierra, my assistant,
Okay.
she's self-taught, which is really cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I went to school in Montreal at Dawson College, which is kind of like a community college, and then took illustration and design there.
Okay.
And then graduated and did some stuff in Philadelphia for a book company for a little bit, decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. And then Scott and I were dating, and I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to get a job in Montana, I got to have some sort of web design knowledge, a little bit more education. So I moved back to Buffalo, lived with my family for a year, and got a web design degree from Bryan and Stratton in Amherst.
Oh.
It was just the basics of web design, but that definitely has come in handy at Farm Focus. for
I'm sure.
But yeah, and then Scott and I got married, and I moved out to Montana and didn't really get a job because there's not a huge market for graphic designers in Montana. So then I started freelancing and just kind of helping people out with, random little projects.
Like local things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a friend would need a website for their Etsy business, or a friend would want maternity photos, and I started picking up a little bit of photography here and there, and
Okay.
just amateur stuff. And then I did a logo for Welker Farms just for fun, because I was like, you know what? I want to get into logo design a little bit more. Let's make a fun logo for your farm. So I made this logo for Scott's farm while we were still dating, and Nick kind of just stole it and used it on his YouTube channel. And then he started to grow a little bit bigger, and then over the years, people started asking for hats. And so then my sister-in-law and I started ordering hats from this place in Great Falls. Our original run of hats was like 36 hats, I think.
Okay.
Kathleen ordered like 2. My mother-in-law ordered like 3. And then I had like 26 hats. And then we were just giving them out to people.
Uh-huh.
And now those OG hats are real special.
Oh, I
Yeah,
bet.
for sure.
They were like the originals, that we ordered. And
Yeah.
so we did that, and then more and more people started asking for them because they were wearing those OG hats in the videos.
Mm-hmm.
So then my sister-in-law started ordering like bulk of them and keeping them in her trailer house, and then just like packing and shipping herself. She got to a certain point where she was like, I can't do this anymore. She had like 2 little kids, and it was just too much. So then we started looking around for merchandisers, and after a couple trial and errors, we ended up at Farm Focus. And
correct me if I'm wrong, we're the second ones on your list. It was Zach Johnson first, right?
It was definitely in that top few. I can't remember exactly the sequence, but working with Zach kicked off this whole idea of doing this in general, the Millennial Farmer. And then we kind of worked on the process and kind of got it figured out with him. Not really with any plans to do anything crazy, but we just wanted to make sure it worked right. We wanted to make sure people were getting quality stuff and something they could count on. And then that did kind of start working. And then, we somehow got in contact with you guys. One of the other originals would have been Tony over at Fast Ag.
And then I think it was Tara.
yeah.
Yeah. Beaver. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beaver Vineyards. And then most folks were doing like what you guys were doing, at home, trying to make it work, and just realizing like this is a beast. Like we're having to buy things all the time. We're running out of sizes. We got to run to the post office all the time, whatever. We got with you guys, started getting things going. You had the logo and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really in the beginning put together 2 and 2 of what Sarah was doing behind the scenes for
Yeah, that took a little bit.
Welker. Yeah.
And then when you found out, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we need someone to
I
help with
think
graphics.
We had been with Farm Focus for like, 6 months to a year?
For sure, yeah.
Before
Yeah.
we even talked.
Yeah.
And I think it was like one of those things where Nick was like, all right, we need to add some new stuff to our lineup. So I did a new shirt design for like the Eagle truck or something.
Yep, that's right. Yep. I remember that one.
And Nick didn't want to mess around with being the middleman, so he was like, all right, here's Ben's email, you just send it to him.
Yeah.
So I sent it to you, and then you were like, oh, that's really cool, can you do more of that?
And one thing led to another.
Yeah.
One thing I do remember is just being on social media and Instagram or whatever. You had done a logo for Farrow Farms,
Oh yeah. Yep.
and I remember seeing that and thinking like, I recognized some of the like kind of the cues in it, like from the Welker logo,
Yeah.
and then from some of the other stuff that I had seen, and I was like, man, this really looks like something she had done. And then I think they might have gave a shout out to you or something. And then I was messaging you on Instagram like, hey, did you create this? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, man, this is great. And then it kept confirming for me, like, we need to figure out how to get Sarah to do stuff for us because you did great work and you're in the industry.
Yeah.
You understand the look,
the
feel of the farm brands and how that, needs to go. So
being married to a farmer definitely helps with that.
Yeah, right. So then we did some freelance stuff with you for a while. And I was just hoping things were going to go good, and they did. And then I was just like, hey, we've got enough work to keep you busy full time if you want to, if you don't want to mess with that freelance stuff. And I think you were kind of like,
Yep.
I'm done running this thing. Like, I just want to do what I'm good at.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So we did. We started going down that road, and then one thing led to another. Website continued to grow. You took on more responsibilities. Then we ended up having to bring in a second graphic designer who works for us kind of on a part-time basis that you oversee.
Yeah.
Sierra down in Texas.
Texas, yeah.
And she does great fill-in work, handles a lot of the day-to-day stuff, does a good job at that. It's reliable.
Yeah.
It's good for me and in my position in that I don't have to manage her. I don't have to tell her what to do.
Yeah.
You're able to handle that, so that takes a load off for me as well. But yeah, so that's where we're at today, and it's been great. Like it's huge for us. It's something we needed. I think it fit something you were looking for as well, and I don't think we could be any happier with it. So
I was thinking early on, you were even you did some graphic stuff, and you have absolutely no training.
I would get like
I would love to see that.
I remember if you look at like Tony's current logo, the Fast Ag logo.
Did you make that?
Well, he had it made somewhere, and it says Fast Ag and it says Montana below it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I really want the T on Montana to be a cross.
Yeah.
Oh.
You did it.
So I just started.
You just started messing with it.
Photoshop, and I just started cutting and pasting things.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you could see some of the original files, you'd probably dig into them and be like, oh my God, what did they do here? But we ended up making it work. Like just some of that playing around. But it was out of necessity. I mean, we didn't have a choice.
Yeah. You had to. I mean, there's no way I could do that. So.
Well, and it was like, we're doing this as a business. Like this isn't just a
hobby.
Yeah, we're trying to do some designs here and there. So I could get some of the other freelancers that we were working with and pay $300 to have that cross put on Tony's logo. And then how long is it going to take us to outrun that thing and so on and so forth? We just needed a better scenario where someone can just handle it when they can handle it, and it doesn't need to be that kind of arrangement. So
Yeah.
And also kind of what we've done is gone down this road of trying to utilize your expertise outside of the website. So with folks who, my mic there, folks who want a logo design, want a T-shirt design, whatever, aren't necessarily on our site.
Yeah.
And it kind of mixes things up for you too. And we try to get into some of the other categories outside of farming.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings some variety. Which I think you enjoy a little bit. We've done some stuff with with Eric, the country music singer, some of those new designs.
Yep, that's been real fun.
Yeah.
Some of the outdoor stuff. So yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about how great it's been for the company. So we appreciate you.
Oh, thanks.
We appreciate
big time.
We appreciate Scott letting you do your thing. If he wasn't there, I don't know what you would be able to do. I mean, you'd be lost.
Yeah. He also makes a great merch model too.
Do not forget that.
Yes, great merch model. Yeah.
So yeah, and that kind of gives folks a little bit of behind the scenes at Farm Focused and Stock and Rod and what we've been doing and kind of what we're working towards. Let's talk about the Welker stuff a little bit and kind of, Scott, how you guys got started, what made you want to do this, this whole YouTube thing. They call it Farm Tube, the Farm Tubers.
Farm Tubers, that's correct.
Yeah.
As far as like what made me want to do this, I actually didn't want to be a part of it.
You didn't have a choice.
I didn't have a choice.
Gosh,
that's exactly
dang it.
right. I
didn't
no
have a
choice.
choice either with this mic.
I know, right? Isn't
They
it
just
something?
tell us what
You
to
just gotta
do.
do it now, right? So basically what happened was my brother came back from college, and he didn't really want to be a part of the farm at the time, and then he was waiting for a position in when he went to air traffic control, and it didn't really work out, and then he realized like the farming was actually kind of a neat deal, and he could raise a family there. And so he started helping out and doing things, and then we decided to pull the tractor apart and put a new engine and transmission and so forth in one of our big bud tractors. And my brother thought it'd be really fun to record that. So he started recording all that, and I was like, Nick, we can't be messing around with the camera. We got work to do. And he was like, hey, I forgot to push the record button. Can we take it apart and put it back together? I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh,
Nick, we can't do that. We can't do that. So I was like arguing with him. My dad just kind of did whatever. He didn't really care. And then after it was all said and done, Nick did this video of us doing that. And it was probably one of the first videos on YouTube of a restoration time lapse of the tractor being pulled apart. And one of the things that set us aside was we had a big buds were like the beginning of the big massive farming tractors in the world, and they were built 2 hours away from us. Well, people never saw anything about big buds, and all of a sudden here's a video on YouTube of big buds, and they're like super excited about it, and it just blew up. I mean, people were going crazy over this. And then I was like, well, that's kind of cool, but like, it's just a fad. It's gonna stop.
Yeah.
My brother kept doing it, and pretty soon he did another couple videos, and then GoPro introduced to their camera, and that's one of the first things that we used for that. But Nick just started making more videos, and pretty soon it just started growing and growing, and then I realized this isn't going away. Like, this is sticking around for a while. So to boil it up, we had many things that happened that we did not plan. It wasn't like we didn't know what we were doing. YouTube was new. Nobody was making money on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, we just kept doing it. And then pretty soon, we were starting to get some income off of it when the farm was not making income enough for us to live. Like, we were barely making it. And so that was kind of cool. Like, hey, we actually found another way to get some income. And then all of a sudden, farming simulator game. The guys that were playing farming simulator, some of the guys wanted to make a map of our farm. And so they made the map of our farm. And it was crazy. One day, my brother walks in. He's like, hey, I got something to show you. And I'm like, okay, what do you got to show? He pulls out his phone. He's like, see this? And I'm looking at this. Here's pictures of our farm, our shop, our buildings. But that's not our shop or buildings. Like, it's weird. And he was giving, on the sidelines, he was giving this guy, like, pictures and elevations and a bunch of different things of, like, our farm. And then they mapped out our farm.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, now you can play Farming Simulator. Well, that gained, like, I don't know, probably 50 to 100,000 subscribers.
Wow, that's cool.
Of people getting to play it, and it was just like blowing out of the, what do you do about this? Well,
Yeah.
and then, of course, people wanted merchandise, and then all of a sudden they gave us a nicknames, and like I got called leg arms because one time in a live video, I had a wife beater shirt on and I was greasy, and Nick's like, let's do a live stream. Like, whatever, Nick, okay. Well, then somebody's like, dude, that guy's got big arms, because I was working out pretty good and I didn't have a life at the time. And so then another guy's like, well, they're pretty much legs. And then another guy's like, well, they're leg arms. And then bam, there it was. There was my. So I never asked for that. Like, it's not like I was trying to, I need to be something special. No, this stuff just happened. And then along the way, all of a sudden we start getting these like heart-wrenching, like, letters of people saying like, hey, I can't get out of bed. I'm like paralyzed and I can't do anything with my life. And like, I just, I get to experience my life through yours, and I get to see what you do. And like, I just want to say thank you. And like, people are like, I just want to say I appreciate your outlook on life and how hard you guys work, and you don't really complain. You just keep doing things. And then we get like, this one kid, he had a list of 20 things that he could get from Make-A-Wish Foundation. Uh-huh. And the second thing on his list was a $20,000 tracked wheelchair. Guess what the first thing was? To come see Welker Farms.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Crazy.
what do you say to that? Like,
Right.
I mean, you just, like, you're heartbroken. And then you get to go to these shows and meet these people that are, like, struggling with something and dealing with things, and you get to visit with them. And the stories they tell, and you're just like, wow. Somehow in this whole grand scheme of thing, God allowed us to, like, be an inspiration, or like just be able to relate to these people. And so this journey has been above and beyond of what we can ever imagine. Mm-hmm. So like getting a part of getting to know you guys and getting to know a bunch of different companies. I mean, we're partnering with Case IH, and we're getting to see massive companies and how they do things. And it's like, out of all the places, Shelby, Montana, in the desert of nowhere, the only thing that sticks around is the rocks, because they don't blow away and they don't need water. So like, it was unbelievable. Like, and so now we're, all right, well, we'll just see how far it goes. And
Yeah.
then we kind of set the setting stone for a lot of people because they, you know, we're like the second biggest farming channel or so, and it's just crazy. So
Yeah.
I can hear your kids hollering in the background.
they probably are fighting over candy or something.
Uh-oh.
Do you
want me to go check on them?
Check on them.
I'll go
Take
check.
a break.
All right, we'll take a quick break. This episode is brought to you by a company near and dear to our hearts, Farm Focused. FarmFocused.com, FOCUSED. It's the #1 provider of branded merchandise for the top brands in agriculture. Folks like Millennial Farmer, Welker Farms, Larson Farms, Calf Fed, so many more. Again, check it out, FarmFocused.com. Being Farm Focused is a way of life. It's a brand you can be proud to be a part of. Thanks for listening. All right, we're back. Crisis averted.
Yeah, my stomach was grumbling a little bit.
Is that what it was?
Kind of sounds like kids.
There's just Sharpie on one kid's face. It's okay.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
I mean, this is real life, guys.
Right. Being a parent is, you know what?
This
there's
is
a
what
little bit
happens.
involved. Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yep.
3, so
It's entertaining.
No excuse.
it is funny.
Oh, yeah, I guarantee it's entertaining. So, to get back to what you were talking about before we broke off there, you were talking about some of the things that, like some of the opportunities you guys have been
Yeah, I
afforded
did.
and the folks you've met
Yep.
and what kind of impact that's had on you.
Yeah.
And I think part of kind of what you were saying there in the background, although you didn't get into it, and this is one of the questions that I want to ask you, you guys rely heavily on your faith, and your life is guided by that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
by some of the things that you were talking about, you could kind of hear a little bit of that coming out. So tell me a little bit about that and how that's been for you guys.
So I grew up in a Christian home, and like at a certain point, you either make that your own religion or you find your own or something like that. And I just felt like that only by God's grace that He's given us this opportunity, and that He's allowed us to have this farm that feeds thousands of people, thousands of people. And in my worst day, my hardest time of like blood, sweat, tears, breaking my arm, whatever it is, like I get to feed people. How like amazing is that? And so we believe that everything speaks God. Everything. Like there's got to be a creator out there. And the fact that He's given us this opportunity to show our lifestyle and what we do, and it's genuine. That's the thing, is
Right.
we're not trying to make up we're not making up stories. We're not trying to be fake. Like what you guys see is who we are. And if we're different, shame on us.
I
And
think that's a huge point to make about your guys' channel in particular, and with a number of these farm tubers, is that it is so genuine. You know, like I look at the stuff that my son watches with like these dudes just trying to do clickbait stuff, and they're basketball shooting and having some weird competition or whatever, all the different things that he watches, and it gets the kids' attention for a little while,
Right.
but with what you guys are doing, like you're truly bringing yourself to the screen. There's no this isn't any kind of acting. This isn't kind of like we're trying to get you to click here or sell you something or whatever. It's actual documentary of your life, essentially.
It is. And like, it's
Yeah.
hard sometimes, like when really tough things happen, you do not want to record that because you're just like, I just don't want people to see my struggles or what I deal with, or like the things that are, I don't want that. But then at the end of the day, you're like, no, people need to see what we go through. And then
Right.
pretty soon now it's like, when something bad happens, grab the camera. All right, we'll roll with it. And that's just crazy to my mind, but we were never trying to make this happen. And by God's grace, He allowed it. And if we try to make this happen, we would not be here, because there's no way that we can make everything fall into place. And like, there's a lot of times we were thinking like, what is the purpose of this? Why do I deal with this? Like, for example, I'm dyslexic, and I thought many times like, why did you give me these the struggles of reading and trying to figure out things? Well, now I'm like, He gave it to me so that I can relate to people and show like, hey, I'm capable of making things, fabricating things, welding things, engineering things. I'm not stupid, and neither are you. Like, there's kids out there that are struggling with self-esteem issues. Like, you matter. You are special. You are wonderful. And if you use your God-given talents and you just realize, you know what, it's going to be tougher for you, but you can make a difference and you can apply yourself. And that's the key, is just applying yourself. You don't have to be smart. You just have to apply yourself. And so like, we have many opportunities to teach this younger generation. And what are we teaching them? Like, that's one of the things too, is we want our family to be able to watch anything we do.
Yeah.
And if we can't let them watch it, we are doing something wrong.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
So,
You had talked earlier about like, just kind of this, I wouldn't say newfound at this point. It was a while ago, but this celebrity, you go to these farm shows, and obviously at the farm shows, I mean, these are massive farm shows.
Huge.
I've been to some of them with you guys.
100,000 people in like a day or 3 days, or a couple 100,000 people that show up. It's insane.
Yeah. And the folks who are at these things, that is the folks watching these YouTube farmers. So, I mean, you're
majority.
right there in the heart of that. And I've been around you guys at these things, and you can't make it 10 steps without someone stopping you, wanting to talk to you, wanting
Let
an
me
autograph.
ask you a question. What is a potty break?
You're right,
Can you
yeah.
hold that potty?
You guys are gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, there's got to be some device.
There's times that I've been into a bathroom and then I hear somebody walking like, "Hey, I thought I saw leg arms. Is he in here?" I'm like,
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, they're following you to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, at like the FFA, like some of the kids they're funny.
and like you said earlier, I mean, you're just a regular
And
dude.
they all mean well,
Oh yeah,
obviously.
Oh,
But
yeah. There's a couple interesting individuals out there that you're like, okay,
Yeah.
That's gonna
you have
happen,
a very interesting personality, but
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you take that? I mean, how does that feel today?
Very awkward. I mean, to be honest, this never feels normal. It doesn't feel like it's like I guess the question for me is like, why me? Like, of all the people, why me? But I purposely try to make a point to take time for each individual person that comes up to me. Like, for example, we were coming over here and we were at a rest stop, and then I was putting my kid in the car, and all of a sudden this guy like walked in my corner of my eye, and he stopped and looked, and it's like, oh no, this guy's wanting like drug money or something like that. I just didn't know what he was thinking. So I put the kid in, trying to ignore him, and all of a sudden he's like, hey man, you work from Welker Farms? I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, dude, I thought you were like asking for drug money or something. He just started laughing. And he's like, do you mind if I get a picture? And I was like, oh, absolutely. And I felt bad because like I wanted to spend time with him because like, he was so excited, and like I don't want to stop that, but we also had to get on the road. So like trying to find that balance is tough.
Yeah.
Like at farm shows, people don't understand this. If you have like 200-300 people in line and you shake hands, you start talking to somebody, pretty soon you're like making a connection, and you're trying to find out how they're, interacting, what do they do, what do they like, and they want to talk about all these things. And then at some point you got to figure out a way to stop that talking so that they can meet the next person. But you don't want to be a jerk about it. You want to give them that time. So you're trying to make that connection and stop that connection. Pretty soon, you're like after a couple hundred people, your mind turns into mush.
Yeah.
Like it's on, off, on, off, on, off. And then you feel so guilty at the end of the day because like I didn't give this person enough time and this other person took too much time. And you're like, it's hard.
I feel like you need somebody that's directing that, right?
We do. So
Okay.
Case IH brings us to these farm shows, and we have a partnership with them.
But do they shoo the people out and they're like, okay,
eventually
next?
they will, but
I'm just thinking of like, when
usually
you go
use,
to
like-
concerts.
we use a
there's
cattle
like
prong.
a person.
So like when
that's
they're when they need to go, we just zap them in the butt
Okay.
with the cattle
Oh,
prong. Yeah, it
right.
works really well. They don't seem
not?
to like cry too much, but
Okay.
Yeah.
kids are a little bit more
that
screechy.
works. Yeah. Because that would be easier if someone else is telling them, okay, next, and they
Right.
have to go rather than you. You don't look like the bad guy. It's just this lady over here that's pretty.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like,
But-
bye.
I think that what you were touching on there earlier. That's the difference between what you guys do and what a lot of these farm tubers do compared to a lot of the other people that we see on YouTube. Is
Yeah.
that you didn't set out with the intention of
No.
I'm going to build a channel, I'm going to make money, I'm going to be a celebrity, I'm going to get all these endorsements. YouTube's going to pay me, I'm going to build this
No,
thing
none of
XYZ, and that's just not the case. So it's so much more genuine and easy to watch.
So organic.
Yeah, and we got a lot of flack when YouTube started paying people. We were getting a lot of flack of. I think one of my kids are starting to
Banging on the door.
Either they're drawing on the door or
Yeah.
oh, it's Raleigh. Yep, the kid with
come on
with a bunch of markers on his face. He just wants to snuggle.
He can hang out.
But we were getting a lot of flack of, well, it must be nice. You guys are getting all this stuff, and you're
Yeah.
getting all this money and YouTube
Right.
money, and it's like, guys, it's been offered to us, and if you're in our position, would you say no to a lot of that? I mean,
Yeah.
we do
Right.
say no to a lot of things,
Yeah.
but we also like, I mean, I don't know. It's hard.
A lot of people don't realize how much work it actually is.
Gosh, I mean, the amount of stress, people have no idea.
The amount of stuff that you guys have to do, the amount of time you have to put in, the effort, the focus, all that kind of stuff. The amount of time it takes you from your regular job.
Well, think of it this way. Like, okay, if you're going to change a starter on a vehicle, if you're doing it 15 minutes, let's just say that, it could be 20, 30 minutes after you're done because you're recording and then you screw up and you don't know how to put your thoughts into words and you have to do a retake or, I want to show this angle and then you got to stop it and then you got to do this. And people don't understand, like, you got to think of a story in your mind of what you're doing. And then you got to try to relate, how do you make that story for people to watch where it's fun and exciting, but it's not dull? Like, for example, there's a lot of people that watch your channel that know us. And we don't have to tell them anything because they know us. But then you get the new people. How do you make it understand for them, but not dumb it down so much that it's annoying?
Oh gosh,
I mean, it's hard.
That sounds so complicated. Just you even talking about it, I'm like,
your mind goes into 50 different directions, and then on top of that, you got social media, so like Instagram or Facebook, and you got to think about, okay, not only just the camera for YouTube. I got to think about, like, what about a post or things coming up, or then people, like, you got this going on, and you got this going on, and then you got family matters, and then you got, I mean, you're stretched. People have no idea how complicated our lives are.
And the point that I'm making is, when people say, like, oh, it must be nice, you get this or you get that or you get that YouTube money, like, you deserve it.
You're actually working for it.
Well,
I mean,
you're doing work.
I wouldn't say that we deserve it. I think it's more of like we've been given this opportunity, and like one question that I ask myself is like, you want another marker?
Pet the doggy.
Oh, he wants to pet the doggy. Okay, there's a dog. There's
I'm sure you could pet her.
Yeah, he's over here, buddy. One of the things that I ask myself is like, okay, what if I died today and God looks at me and says, what did you do with what I gave you? That's a scary thought.
Sure. Yeah.
Did I use it to my own self-gratification? Well, yeah, there's a lot of that. But then it's also like, what did I do to imply, like, to spend time with people, or like try, what kind of example am I setting for a younger generation? Or like, and so I've had a really hard time trying to figure out how do I balance that, because, life is just chaotic. So there's a lot of things that we're figuring out still.
Makes sense. And you had said something earlier, like you guys are about 10 years into this. Is that right?
Yeah, we're over. So in 2011, I think was the first video that came out, and then we've been doing it for over 10 years. So we're kind of like one of the very first farm channels out there. There was like How Farms Work, I think was. Oh yeah. He was one of the first ones too, and then Zach was a little bit after us. But we were one of the first ones, and it wasn't intentional. Yeah. We didn't know what YouTube was going to be. Right. Shoot, we go on there and watch Charlie the Unicorn, like the little Leo Perniline, like there's, that kind of stuff, and laugh about it. And all of a sudden here, it went from like showing cinematic to then vlogging, and like that's, I mean, things just change. You learn how to.
But don't you think that just makes it better? I just feel like the more organic you just kind of just start going with it. I mean, that's again with our business, right? Farm Focus. We didn't set out to be like, and we're going to be the t-shirt people and make hats. It just manifested, and here we are, So I think sometimes that is a testament to, again, hard work, kind of being, I don't know if moldable, but just kind of adjusting and going with what's coming at you.
Recognizing the opportunities and stuff.
Right. Yeah. And one thing people will pick up on, are you genuine?
Absolutely.
They'll pick up on it. Yep. Now, if you live off of being a train wreck and people are like, what are you doing now? Then it's like, you get those people that just want to watch to see what you're going to do. Yeah. But they're not going to relate to you. They're not going to be able to pick out. I mean, like, they'll just mock you and like, well, that's not what I want to be. But, what kind of example are you setting for kids? Yep. So like,
and I think that's part of the reason why, when you go to farm shows, that you guys are so busy, that when you see these meet and greets, the lines are so dang long. Like,
it's insane.
They'll schedule them for 2 or 3 hours, and you'll end up having to be there for 4 or 5 if they don't. If they don't put a hard stop. But the point is that you are genuine, and the folks do want to meet the real person. They feel good about it. I think it's all the social media personalities that we work with, like you guys, I think all have the same struggle of almost kind of like that imposter syndrome, And I try to tell these folks, like, what you have to realize is, like, when I was a kid, I loved baseball, and I had like some of my favorite baseball players. And if I ever had the opportunity to meet one of them, you guarantee I'm taking that opportunity, and I'm getting their signature, and I'm buying their jersey, and I'm doing all that kind of stuff. It's all the same.
Right.
It's just this is what kids have access to now is this whole YouTube thing and these celebrities.
Well,
That's
it's not
what
just
you are.
kids. We get like 80-year-old guys
Absolutely,
that walk up
yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
like
Yes.
giddy as
Yeah.
a schoolgirl. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
But they probably live that life or can't,
Or
and
they
maybe
wish-
wish they could.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
We had
Yeah.
like one time we were at this it was a FFA, and this girl came up and she just started crying, and like, what do you do to somebody who's crying? Like, what do you say? And
Yeah.
then she's like, finally was able to say, and she's like, you guys don't understand how much you make my dad's day, because he wishes he could do what you do, and I love my dad so much, and I'm
Oh.
so like, I just want to, I'm only here to get a signature from my dad, and it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's heartbreaking, because
Sure.
like, how did you, middle of nowhere, somebody that's not like, all of a sudden you turn into a celebrity and you didn't ask for it, and then like you got to stay humble in it. You got to make sure that you're not like puffing yourself up, and
Right,
like,
for
hey,
sure.
look at me,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
And so I think a lot of it is just you know, as we're a little older, we're a little bit more mature, and so we're not like, you know, just taking it in like a young person where
Yep.
doesn't know how to process it all. And we had a pretty good understanding of kind of what was expected, I guess,
Yep.
even though we didn't know what was going to happen.
That makes you think, you know, when you say those things like that girl told you that story, like how many more of those stories out there that you never hear, like the
Oh,
effects that
tons.
you guys are having on so many folks day to day.
Oh yeah, we get people like this guy drove all the way from Texas all the way up to our place just to see our place, and it was like 30 minutes, and then he drove back. And he's like, I tried to make an appointment, and it's like, you know, we try not to have too many visitors because we're just so busy.
Yeah.
We got things we
Well,
gotta
you can't
do.
get any work done
We
then.
can't get work
Yeah.
done.
Right.
That's why he
can't,
goes to
yeah.
the farm shows, because the farm shows are really
That's the
just a
place to
big
do it.
opportunity for
Right.
everybody to meet him all
Yeah.
at once.
Yes.
Right.
And then they're not taking up his work day.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get you guys back on the road, but I got last question that I wanted
He's
to
gone.
ask. Yeah, he's out now. He's on the run. When you look back at all of it and everything that we've talked about, are you glad that you did it? Are you glad it's happened and it's come along?
I'll let you answer first, Sarah.
I was going to ask her the exact same question, so I'm glad you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been some negatives along the way, but overall, I think it's been a really positive experience, and it's just been a wild ride.
Yeah, I bet.
But how long have you guys been married? I don't know if we.
10 years.
10 years,
10 years.
last year.
So
So,
it was
really,
last
you've
year. Oh,
been
yeah,
from
that's
the
right.
start of
The
this.
Yeah.
first of 2024.
So Nick posted, I think, the first Welker Farms video in 2011, and we started dating in 2011.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right, because you said you created the logo when you were just dating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so you've been here this whole time.
The whole
Yeah.
run.
Good
pretty
thing
much.
they kept you around, wink, wink,
I know, right?
or that you decided to stick around. Is it that way?
Both.
Could
Okay.
be both.
Okay.
Yeah, little
Okay.
both.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Scott?
Yeah. What's your answer?
I think if you didn't try, you'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been many, many times that my brother and I just like, we want to quit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do it anymore. We're tired. We're wore out. We feel like old men. We're just weathered. That's the best way to put it. And that's not necessarily a great place to be, but at the same time too, we also want to see like, where does it go? Like, what do you have in store for us, God?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want us to do with this, God? So like, if we're trying to be good stewards with what we have, like, we also want to say, okay, let's see where it goes. And then God has allowed this to help us pay for expenses. And like, honestly, the house that we have, I've lived in a trailer house for 17 years, 2 different trailer houses, and I've busted my butt to try to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this whole YouTube thing, we were able to build a house. And it just blows my mind that
Yeah.
we're able to do that, and we're able to bless with people visiting, and we want to be more into foster care. We've done some of that, and then so it's been a wild ride. And so I would say, yeah, I would do it again, but I would also like, it's been tough.
But if
Yeah.
it had to quit tomorrow, it would be sad, but it would be
You
okay.
know, it would be sad, but it also would be like,
He would definitely be
relief.
able to relax a lot
Right.
more.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's just been such a crazy experience. Like not that many people get to experience what we have
Right.
experienced in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
it's
So-
been a long grind. I mean, my brother, I'll tell you right now, he is an amazing guy. the amount of stuff he does and things that he does behind the scenes that nobody has idea. Like how Clue, like he just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's tough, but that guy right there has a lot on his plate.
Yeah.
So,
Well, from what I've seen, you guys all do, no doubt, and do a great job at it. I can say that one of the things that I enjoy the most, or I'm most proud of about our business, we got another one coming in. Oh, it's coming back.
Same one.
is working with folks like you guys, because I can confidently, when someone asks me about my business, I can tell them that I work with people like you, and go online and check them out. Go watch their videos,
Right.
and I know that if they do that, they're going to be like, oh yeah, he's got it pretty good.
It's quality.
You know?
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
well, I think
Yeah.
one of the things that and I appreciate about you guys is the like-minded. You guys are so genuine, and we see very similar aspects. I mean, you guys are ma and pa shop. I mean, you guys are making this happen, and there's a lot into it. And like, you're not just doing it just for the money. Like, you're also seeing a lot of neat things through this, that you're blessing so many people with like so much joy. They get to open up their present and see something that they've wanted. You know? And like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
It is
So
cool.
you guys
It is
are
very cool.
really cool what you do. So appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Well, thank you guys again for coming to town. It's been great to have you. I think we've had
We
a
rang
great
in the
time.
new year with
Yeah,
you. I mean, we didn't quite make it to the new year.
Yeah, we made it
We're all too
about
old.
11.
We were all in bed before
Right.
Yeah.
11.
Definitely looking forward to doing this again and coming up to your guys' neck of the woods and
Yes.
checking your
Right.
place out. That's
Yeah,
a part of the
absolutely.
country that we've never really been.
Yeah, you've been on Montana before, but
Yeah, but it's still a long way. It's a big
I have
state.
not.
It takes a long time
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
across that thing.
I mean, but can I be like everybody else? Where's Yellowstone?
yeah.
Huh? Where is it at?
Montana has a small portion of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like all your horse barns and the
I know.
farm hands and all the like lunch meals and all the things, because that's
Yeah.
what happened on the show. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
know that's what happens
absolutely. Yeah.
in your backyard.
You want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I can get you one. There you go.
Wait, are you saying that's like a movie? That's not real?
Oh, it's genuine on our
Oh,
farm.
okay,
It'll be
okay.
it'll be
Yeah.
made with love.
Yeah. Well, we better get you guys back to Montana. Again,
Yeah.
thanks so much,
Yeah.
guys. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate you. Appreciate you taking the time. Looking forward to many more years of this, no matter what happens with
Yeah.
the Welker YouTube channel, although I do think it's going to be around for a while. So
It probably will be.
we're looking
Yeah.
forward to continuing to work with
Hope
it.
so.
And Sarah, working with us, thank you
Yeah.
so much for everything you do.
Yeah.
Um,
It's been great.
and we're going to continue to grow that thing by way of what you've got going on and what we've got going on, and
Making
just
more
looking forward to it.
designs.
Right.
Yeah.
You're the wizard. I love
The
it.
wizard.
The
She
digital
is
media
the-
czar.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
All
Well,
right,
thanks,
cool.
guys.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Alrighty.
We'll check you guys later.
Peace.
All right, thanks.